Living joyfully alone. The truth about friendship in old age. The shocking truth about being alone in old age. Imagine this. You've spent a lifetime chasing after social connections, friends, approval, and external validation. Now, as you enter your later years, society expects you to feel lonely, to be desperate for company, to mourn the quiet moments. But what if everything you've been told about aging and loneliness is wrong? What if being alone doesn't mean isolation, but freedom? In a world where solitude is often viewed as something to fear, what if it was actually the key to unlocking something deeper, something more meaningful? What if, instead of feeling abandoned, you could discover the profound peace and self-awareness that comes from being fully present with yourself? In this video, we're going to flip everything you thought you knew about old age and friendship. We'll explore the truth that solitude in your later years is not a curse, it's a gateway. So, get ready to challenge everything you've believed about growing older, because the path to true freedom might be far simpler than you think. Let's get started. The shift in priorities with age, from social validation to inner peace. As we age, something remarkable happens. Our priorities begin to shift. What once seemed urgent, the constant need for social interaction, approval, and belonging, starts to fade into the background. In our youth, we find ourselves constantly searching for validation, our self-worth tightly bound to the number of friends we have and how much recognition we receive. But as the years pass, we start to realize that true fulfillment doesn't come from external sources. This transition isn't about rejecting companionship or isolating ourselves. It's about redefining what truly matters. It's about recognizing that the sense of fulfillment we once sought in friendships and social status can now be found in the stillness of our own company. Buddhism teaches us that the self is impermanent. Our identities, often shaped by external validation and relationships, are transient. So, as we grow older, we no longer need to cling to these fleeting attachments. Instead, we begin to find joy and peace in the quiet moments, in simply being present with ourselves. The urgency to be constantly surrounded by people softens, and in its place, we discover the profound contentment that arises from within. It's a deep, inner peace that doesn't depend on others' approval but is cultivated through introspection, acceptance, and presence. What's remarkable is that this shift doesn't just bring peace, it brings freedom. The freedom to live on your own terms, not dictated by the expectations of the world, but by the quiet wisdom that arises from within. The freedom of self-reliance, embracing independence in old age. One of the greatest gifts that Buddhism offers is the concept of self-reliance. The Buddha, in his own life, chose solitude over societal comforts, leaving behind his family, his palace, and his wealth to embark on a journey of self-discovery. He understood that attachment to external sources of happiness only breeds suffering. As we age, we too begin to understand that much of our lives have been spent trying to fit into societal molds, trying to please others, and maintaining relationships out of obligation. But as we enter our later years, we're given a rare and precious opportunity, the permission to let go of these expectations. We no longer need to seek validation from others. Instead, we turn inward, cultivating a sense of wholeness from within. This might feel unsettling at first, especially when we've spent decades engaging with others, living up to social norms, and fitting into predefined roles. But as time passes, we realize that self-reliance is not about isolating ourselves or severing ties with the world. It's about the freedom to engage with others on our own terms. It's about choosing to connect with people when it feels authentic, rather than out of a sense of obligation or need. It's about giving ourselves the permission to prioritize peace, authenticity, and inner fulfillment. Imagine the moments in life when you felt most at ease, not because of who you were with, but because of the space they allowed for you to simply be. Perhaps it was a quiet morning spent watching the sun rise, or an afternoon sitting by the ocean, feeling completely at peace. These moments of peace are not rooted in others' presence, but in the stillness we create within ourselves. Self-reliance, therefore, is not about rejecting companionship or community. It's about choosing to live authentically without the need for constant approval or validation. It's a deep, internal freedom, a freedom that allows us to be present in our relationships without the weight of expectations and to walk through life with peace in our hearts. Quality over quantity, the art of meaningful connection. As we grow older, we come to a profound realization. It's not the number of relationships that matter, but the depth of the connections we share. Throughout our youth, we are often driven by the desire to accumulate friends, parties, and social interactions, believing that the more we have, the more complete we are. But as time passes, we begin to see that this approach is empty, like collecting trophies for validation rather than for genuine connection. In Buddhism, there's a saying, "When drinking tea, drink tea." This simple phrase encourages us to fully immerse ourselves in the present moment, giving our full attention to whatever we are doing. When it comes to relationships, this means we should pour our energy into those connections that truly nourish us, rather than spreading ourselves thin across many shallow interactions. A powerful example of this shift can be found in the way we engage with others. Imagine sitting with a close friend, sharing a meal in silence, or engaging in a quiet conversation. There's no need to impress or entertain, just a shared, present moment. In this simplicity, we realize that connection is not about grandeur. It's about authenticity. It's about truly being seen for who we are, without the need for pretense or performance. In contrast, we've all experienced rooms full of acquaintances where the conversation skims the surface, never reaching the heart of who we are. As we age, we no longer feel compelled to entertain every invitation or maintain relationships that no longer serve us. Instead, we become more selective, not out of selfishness, but out of wisdom. We understand that our energy is finite, and we choose to invest it in the people and experiences that truly matter. This isn't about being alone. It's about cultivating meaningful, deep relationships. By prioritizing quality over quantity, we open ourselves up to richer, more fulfilling connections. We learn the art of deep listening, something central to Buddhist practice. When we listen without the need to respond or plan what we'll say next, we honor the other person's presence. This act of love transforms even the briefest encounters into something meaningful. Ultimately, what we discover is that it's not about how many people we surround ourselves with, but how deeply we connect with them. The depth of these interactions is what truly enriches our lives, offering us the authentic connection we've been seeking all along. The beauty of solitude and reflection, embracing silence for self-discovery. Solitude is often misunderstood, especially as we grow older. In a world that celebrates constant noise and interaction, being alone is frequently seen as something to be feared or pitied. But in the Buddhist tradition, solitude is not a void to be avoided. It's a sanctuary to be embraced. Just as monks retreat into silence to meditate, we too can find peace in moments of quiet reflection where we can truly listen to ourselves. As we age, we are presented with an opportunity to engage in this sacred practice of solitude. It's in these moments of stillness that we can reflect on our lives, accept our past, and release any lingering regrets. we can come to understand that we are complete, even when alone. This realization is liberating. We don't need others to define us or validate our worth. We are already whole. In fact, it's in solitude that we often find our greatest insights. The Buddha attained enlightenment through solitary meditation beneath the Bodhi tree. Similarly, many poets, philosophers, and great minds throughout history have sought truth in the quiet spaces of their own thoughts. Solitude allows us to go beyond the distractions of the world and dive deep into our inner wisdom, where clarity and self-awareness reside. But solitude doesn't just offer us wisdom, it fosters creativity. When we're alone, we have the freedom to engage in solitary activities that bring us joy, whether it's writing, painting, gardening, or simply sitting in quiet contemplation. These moments are not a sign of isolation. They are a celebration of self-reliance, a chance to reconnect with what truly nourishes our soul. Of course, embracing solitude doesn't mean cutting ourselves off from the world. It's about balance, knowing when to seek connection and when to retreat into the self. Solitude is not an escape, it's a practice of self-awareness, a doorway to inner peace. And when we learn to cherish this solitude, we realize that we are never truly alone. We are always in the presence of our own soul, and it is from this place of deep connection that we find true peace. The importance of family and community, cultivating deep, lasting connections. As friendships naturally ebb and flow with time, the significance of family and community often becomes more apparent. Unlike the transient nature of many friendships, these deeper connections offer something more enduring. It's not about dependency, but about embracing the roles of wisdom keepers and mentors who provide guidance to future generations. In Buddhism, we are taught about interdependence, the understanding that we are all connected in an intricate web of cause and effect. While solitude and self-reflection are valuable, so too is the act of giving. As we age, we are given the opportunity to pass down our wisdom, to serve as beacons of experience, and to contribute to something greater than ourselves. Family, whether biological or chosen, provides a space where unconditional love and deeply rooted bonds can flourish. A simple conversation with a grandchild or a quiet moment spent teaching a younger family member about perseverance can carry immeasurable weight. These acts of kindness are not just moments in time, they are legacies that shape the future, creating a ripple effect that extends far beyond our own lives. Community plays a crucial role in sustaining a sense of belonging. It's not about social obligations or fitting into a mold, it's about authentic connection. Whether it's a familiar face at the local market, a neighbor who shares a smile, or a spiritual group that gathers to meditate together, these interactions provide warmth and purpose. As we age, the nature of these relationships transforms, often deepening and becoming more meaningful. We begin to see that the essence of connection is found not in the quantity of our interactions, but in their quality. Moreover, the act of giving, whether through wisdom, presence, or simply offering a listening ear, becomes a source of fulfillment. In Buddhism, the practice of dana, generosity, is one of the most revered virtues. Giving without expectation purifies the heart, dissolves the ego, and fosters a boundless sense of peace. Ultimately, family and community are not just about relationships, they are about the legacy we leave behind. Through the wisdom we share, the love we extend, and the moments we cherish, we contribute to a collective story that will endure long after we are gone. Letting go of social expectations, finding freedom in authentic living. The world often tells us that we need more friends, more social engagements, more activities to stay relevant. Society frequently equates isolation with something to be feared. But Buddhism teaches us that suffering arises when we cling to societal expectations and external validations. As we age, we are given a unique opportunity to step away from the noise of the world and live life on our own terms. For much of our lives, we are shaped by external pressures. What we should achieve, how we should behave, and even who we should surround ourselves with. In our younger years, we chase recognition, trying to meet societal norms about how many friends we should have and how socially active we should be. But at some point, the realization dawns that none of these things define us. We are more than the number of invitations we accept or the circles we belong to. Letting go of these social expectations is not an act of withdrawal. Rather, it is an act of liberation. It's about embracing the freedom to live authentically without the need to maintain relationships or uphold appearances just to please others. When we let go of the societal pressure to be socially active or keep up with outdated norms, we make space for something far more valuable: inner peace. This shift doesn't mean we abandon relationships altogether. It means we engage with them on our own terms. We no longer feel the need to entertain every invitation or uphold connections that drain us. Instead, we make conscious choices about where and how we invest our energy, prioritizing relationships that are nourishing rather than obligatory. The peace we seek is not found in how many social gatherings we attend or how many people surround us. It's found in the stillness we create by letting go of external validation and choosing to live in alignment with our own truth. True peace arises from self-acceptance, from the ability to say no when necessary, and from the courage to live authentically. This freedom allows us to live a life that is no longer dictated by the ever-changing expectations of others, but by the quiet, unwavering voice within us that knows exactly what we need. Practical considerations: redefining connection in later years. As we age, physical health, energy levels, and mobility naturally change. These shifts can sometimes feel like limitations, but they also offer an invitation to redefine what connection means. Many of us have been conditioned to think of connection in terms of grand social gatherings, long conversations, or extensive travel. Yet, as we grow older, we come to realize that connection doesn't always have to be elaborate. It can be found in the simplest, most everyday moments. Consider the small, often overlooked gestures that carry deep meaning. A warm smile shared with a stranger, the laughter of a child echoing through a quiet afternoon, the peaceful presence of sitting in nature, listening to the wind rustle the leaves. These fleeting moments are just as valuable, if not more so, than an entire evening spent at a large social event. In these moments, we experience true connection, not through busy interactions, but through the presence of the moment itself. Modern technology, too, offers opportunities to stay connected without overwhelming ourselves. A video call with a loved one, a handwritten letter, or even a shared moment of silence on the phone can be deeply meaningful. These interactions may be simpler than they once were, but they are no less rich or valuable. In fact, they allow us to engage more fully without the distractions or obligations that once accompanied socializing. Buddhism teaches us to embrace change without resistance. Our bodies slow down as we age, but instead of fighting against it, we learn to move with it. If our ability to travel diminishes, we focus on finding fulfillment in the present moment, in the space we already occupy. True connection isn't about moving around constantly or attending every event. It's about being fully present in the life we have right now, connecting deeply with what is already around us. Rather than lamenting what we can no longer do, we can ask, how can I connect in a way that aligns with my current reality? It could be as simple as deepening the relationships we already have, rather than seeking out new ones. Maybe it's about cultivating a stronger connection with nature, paying attention to the rhythm of life in every breath of wind or every rustling leaf. By redefining connection, we release the pressure to conform to outdated expectations and instead embrace the simplicity, depth, and beauty of a life well lived. A legacy of wisdom, leaving behind what truly matters. As we age, the importance of what we leave behind becomes clearer. It's not wealth, status, or material possessions that define a life well lived, but the wisdom we pass down to future generations. In Buddhism, we are reminded that the greatest gift we can offer is not what we have accumulated, but the knowledge, love, and understanding we share with others. Old age is a time of distillation, of taking everything we've learned and experienced and offering it to those who will come after us. This process of storytelling, of sharing personal experiences, becomes an essential part of the legacy we create. The lessons we've learned through triumphs and struggles, through joy and sorrow, are invaluable gifts that can guide younger generations in ways that material wealth never could. Through acts of kindness, we teach others the true nature of compassion. By embodying peace and wisdom, we become living examples of tranquility. Our actions and words are the seeds that, when planted in the hearts of others, grow into a lasting impact. It is in the simple act of being present, of sharing our knowledge, that we leave behind a legacy far greater than any possession or accomplishment. But this legacy is not just about the future, it's also about the present. Every word of encouragement, every gesture of kindness, becomes part of a larger whole, a collective wisdom that continues to enrich the lives of those around us. Even in our solitude, the impact of our wisdom ripples out into the world, influencing those we meet and those we leave behind. True legacy is not measured in the things we collect, but in the lives we touch and the transformation we inspire. The wisdom we share, the love we extend, and the lives we influence. This is the legacy that endures long after we are gone. Embracing the gift of your own company, the true joy of solitude. At the heart of Buddhist philosophy lies the understanding that suffering arises from craving, from the desire for what we do not have, and from resisting the present moment. In many ways, the concept of solitude challenges this craving. For most of our lives, we are taught that happiness comes from external sources, from relationships, achievements, and the constant pursuit of more. But as we grow older, we come to realize that true happiness doesn't rely on what we lack. It arises from embracing what is already present within us. Old age, rather than being a time of loss, is an opportunity to rediscover the joy that lies in simply being. When we spend so much of our lives shaping ourselves to meet others' expectations, playing roles, maintaining relationships out of obligation, it can be difficult to imagine a life without these external pressures. But in solitude, these masks fall away. We are left with the raw, unfiltered truth of who we are. There is a sacred beauty in this process of self-discovery. What once seemed like loneliness becomes a sanctuary, a space where we can reconnect with our true selves. The silence that once felt intimidating transforms into a space of infinite depth, a place where we can listen to the quiet wisdom within us. In solitude, we are not empty. We are full of the richness of our own company. This realization is powerful. We no longer need the world to validate us because we find that we are already whole. Solitude isn't about isolation. It's about union with the vast and boundless nature of existence. It's a deep connection with ourselves and with the world around us. In this sacred space, we find peace. Embracing solitude doesn't mean giving up on human connection. It means approaching relationships from a place of authenticity, where we no longer depend on others for validation. Instead, we give love not because we need it, but because we are overflowing with it. In this way, our relationships become lighter, freer, and more meaningful. The great realization that comes from solitude is that we were never truly alone. The universe is not separate from us. It moves through us, breathes with us, and connects us to everything around us. In this understanding, solitude is not something to endure, but something to cherish. It is a doorway to inner peace, a space where we can finally find ourselves and embrace the freedom to simply be. Conclusion: embrace the peace of your own company. As we reflect on this journey through aging and solitude, it's clear that being alone in our later years is not something to fear. In fact, it's a profound opportunity, a gift that offers us the freedom to live authentically, to rediscover who we truly are, and to find peace within ourselves. Instead of focusing on the loss of social connections, we can embrace solitude as a powerful teacher, guiding us to greater self-awareness, wisdom, and fulfillment. In Buddhism, we are reminded that the greatest happiness comes not from external validation, but from within. As we age, let us learn to cherish the quiet moments, cultivate deep, meaningful relationships, and embrace the beauty of being alone. For it is in solitude that we truly find the fullness of our being. So, as we walk this path of age and reflection, let's ask ourselves, are we ready to embrace the gift of our own company? To live fully, authentically, and peacefully, no matter what the world around us says? If this video resonated with you, I invite you to pause for a moment of reflection. What does solitude mean to you? How can you embrace the gift of your own company in your own life? If you found value in this message, please consider liking, commenting, and sharing this video with others who might benefit from this perspective. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more insights into living a mindful, peaceful life. Remember, the greatest journey begins with the one inward. Let's walk it together.